Well, I still talk to people, and I do have conversations with people, but I find it difficult
Of course. Of course it would be.
to maintain and keep up with people.
Yeah, yeah. I imagine just the group conversations is pretty difficult, but the one-on-ones are relatively easy because you have one person who just has to be patient. You have one person who has to be patient, ultimately.
You have to get used to getting ignored.
Really? Really? And most people would not be okay with that.
Because it happens a lot.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sweet Talking Podcast with your host, Nepherti. It's great to see you again for another episode. Hopefully you've been enjoying the past episodes that are all available on my YouTube channel. And tonight we have another special guest. We have Nepi here. NepiVR is a member of, co-founder of the Undergarden, and she will be our guest for this evening. And I just want to fill you all in on just a little bit before we get started. I want to let you all know just a little bit of a tidbit. But Nepi is a mute, and I want you all to be very, very understanding. That is just how she communicates. And I think this will be a great opportunity to understand another portion, another aspect of VRChat that maybe you may not have known in the past. So I certainly hope that you will enjoy tonight's podcast. I hope that you maybe learn something tonight. And there's always something to learn because we're meeting new people. And with Nepi here, I have not spoken with her at length. I actually am going to be getting to know her pretty well, hopefully tonight, and hopefully you all will get to know her too. So, Nepi, how are you doing tonight?
I am super good. I had a nap earlier, well prepared.
Nice. You gotta have your naps so you can be well rested for this very, very interesting.
Nicknamed Nappy Fairies and...
Oh, really? So yes, I have heard that you are very well known.
For a reason.
Yes, and definitely for a reason. So, yeah, I've heard that you are very well known for your naps. You definitely enjoy them very much. It fits because you're essentially a cat girl. Essentially. Cat girl without a tail. But hey, tails just get in the way anyway. All you need are the ears. I don't have a tail either for what it's worth. So, hey, I know what that's like. So yeah, I'm glad that you decided to join me for tonight's podcast. I'm really looking forward to learning more about, you and, your experiences in VRChat and everything that has brought you to where you are now. And I feel like there's a lot of ground to cover. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So would you be able to just introduce yourself, share with the viewers, who you are, what you enjoy? Obviously, you reside in VRChat, but just share a little bit about yourself, your interests, things that you like. But just a basic introduction, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah, I'm Nepi. But yes. So I am co-founder of Undergarden with Chelsea, which I know you did a podcast with them.
Sure did. It was a great time. I know you were there for that.
We kind of started streaming together almost a year ago now, but I started a couple months after they did. And we've been trying to grow the community. And it's spread a bunch of good messages throughout the whole time, which has been an awesome experience. But as far as my content and stuff goes, I do a bunch of variety stuff, primarily VRChat. And you can mainly find me exploring worlds or supporting a bunch of friends that also stream, like Redacted and Turquoise, who do DJ sets throughout the week and mainly on the weekends.
Yeah. Awesome. So you're predominantly a variety streamer that mostly spends most of their time on VRChat, but you like to do a variety of different games, and you like to support other streamers that have become your friends over the year, about a year or so that you've been streaming.
Well, that's actually very complicated in my scenario, because I had like a huge life event happen and stuff that led me to not be able to stream.
Yes.
And only recently started back up. Last Saturday it was like 7 months hiatus, for me at least, because of a bunch of different stuff.
I would like to ask you more about that, because I did notice, I did do a bit of research, but I'll ask about that later on, just to kind of, get a little bit of a, just to understand like how you go about streaming, and, again, whatever you feel comfortable sharing, I would be interested in hearing about. But more so about you, let's see. So, with regards to VRChat, how long have you been playing VRChat for?
Well, I think I have almost 5,000 hours on this account, and that's been like going steady for almost 2 years, but I played originally in 2017 on a different account.
Oh. Interesting.
But there is a big gap from them versus this account, because I saw that some of my friends recently got VR and I watched a bunch of different VRChat streamers. And I always wanted to get like actual VR because I only played desktop back then.
So you're saying you're relatively new to VR?
Well, I've had VR for a little bit over 2 years now.
Okay. So not terribly new to it, but still relatively new because you did experience VRChat initially on desktop, which is something I've never done. Like I've actually have only experienced VRChat through VR. So I guess I'm fortunate in that regard. But then again, I only started using VRChat literally almost a year ago. I'm coming up on a year or so, but I'm still pretty new comparatively to like you and so many other people that I've brought on the podcast. So that's really, really cool. So how did you end up learning about VRChat? Do you remember how you first learned about it? You said about 5,000 hours on this account. So, well, I want to ask, like, how did you end up spending that much time? But I also want to know more so, how did you first get into VRChat? How did you first hear about it? And what did you enjoy about it?
Well, funny enough, I was super into Twitch for the longest time since like 2013 and before it was initially called Twitch.
Yeah, Justin TV. Yeah, wow. It's so rare to find anyone who's from that age. That's interesting.
But my favorite streamer is who I watched a lot before I started playing almost nightly, and his streams are super cozy and stuff, and how I kind of want to see things go for myself eventually. Is Roflgator's stream.
Oh,
Mr. Robert Gator.
there you go. Oh, yes. Anyone who knows VRChat and knows Twitch knows Roflgator. Yes. Very familiar.
Because I watched Sodapoppin forever. And yes.
Yeah. So you were into just traditional like straight shooting gamer streamers, and then Roflgator. Did Roflgator always do VRChat, or did he like I know he competed in other games and then he got into VRChat.
He started with Overwatch, I think, but the VRChat and stuff too. I don't know how long he was playing though.
Okay. So you were watching Twitch, Justin TV from like way early on, which is incredible to think about. And so you basically got into VRChat through Roflgator. Is that how you would say you got into it or got curious about it?
Yes, and I always kind of wanted VCR, but I ordered my headset the next day. After my friends were exploring worlds and stuff, they were streaming to a Discord. And finally enough. The reason that I thought it was like super cool is because it was like a bunch of meme avatar worlds. And there was like a random booth avatar.
So you got into it for the memes. Okay.
This booth avatar did a bunch of cool stuff and it like twerked and a column of peaches fell from the sky. And I'm like, I want that.
Oh, okay. So it was the interest in the avatars and the world exploring, I would say, that initially kind of piqued your interest about VRChat, and what it ultimately got you into it.
The golden age of VRChat. Ugandan Knuckles.
So I've heard. Yes. Yeah. It seemed I think I've heard that a lot of VRChat back in the day was very much based around like memes. It was very like the avatar designs were very like meme oriented, but then over time people started creating, more interesting, detailed avatars that actually were meant not for memes, but just for actually like being a character, or like the ones that you and I have. So like was that something? Well, obviously you liked VRChat for the memes, but like after spending all that time in VRChat and ultimately 5,000 hours at plus in VRChat, what was the thing about it that really got you to stay? Because obviously, you're like, oh, this is super interesting. We have these really interesting streamers playing VRChat, but what really kind of did it for you? Like once you were there, once you had your own personal experiences, what kept you in VRChat for so long?
Well, it was a gradual experience. You get to experience a lot about yourself and about others, and pretty much about the world too, and other people's experiences.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the things that I genuinely really like about VRChat, and one of the things
and
that
I felt that I have learned a lot about life in general.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's like the way that I describe VRChat and how I've described VRChat since, again, I'm relatively new comparatively to everyone else I've met, really. But the way that I see VRChat is very much, it's as if it's real life sped up to like 5x speed. because you have an opportunity to meet so many different people in so many different places under so many different circumstances, and it just happens. Like, the more time you're in VRChat, the more time you have new experiences, the more time you get to know new people, and you get to understand people a lot better just from having that time to connect with them in this space, which is really, really fascinating. And again, one of the reasons why I started doing my podcast. Like, just so many fascinating people are like exist in VR and VRC more specifically. And I wanted to just have conversations with like more of these people to like know like where they come from, what led them here, and what makes them who they are. I think that's something that I think it's really, really important to pay attention to, because I think a lot of people just kind of let that go over their heads. They're just here for the moment. And I want to bring back that sense of human connection, despite us, being in VR,
I agree. But there is a lot that goes into that. Like the past 2 years, you really have to like find a group of people to connect with. But that isn't really super hard to do in VRChat, because you can just literally walk up to anyone and start talking.
Yeah, and okay, yeah. You may have more to say. If you have more to say, please say it. But yeah, I totally agree. You can just randomly walk up to people and just like, hey, how's it going?
But I found myself like really into the game whenever I'm in a group of people. A group of people who like I connect with. And what I find really interesting. And who are just like really good friends overall.
Yeah, being able to have those experiences with people that you connect with, that's like the best feeling. I think that's really like the core of VRChat as a social platform. But I do think it's kind of transcended that, based on how much we've gotten to know, or we can get to know people under these circumstances. But you got more to say, so I'll be waiting.
And the reason why I love doing all this stuff with the Undergarden and a bunch of different communities is because it's a group of people who are extremely talented. They basically are pushing the bounds of VRChat. You have like extremely good dancers, visual effect creators, content creators, people who like to RP. and a bunch of various forms of artists who do a lot of cool stuff. World creation, avatar creation, a bunch of different like shader effects. You have to like code that, and that takes a lot of talent as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you bring up a very, very good point. You know, just being able to not only find a group of people in VRChat that you can really connect with, and you did say it's relatively easy just to like find people like that, and like you never know when you'll find someone that, you know, you will end up being friends with for years. You never know. But I mean, that's the same thing that happens in real life. But I feel like VRChat really reduces the friction of having those interactions and allows a person to have more frequent interactions so that you can meet more people and ultimately lead a more enriching life. Because, you know, like you said, you've met so many talented people through founding the Undergarden, basically being able to get to know these people and be supportive of them and create content with them, and even, you know, obviously just support them. And I think that's really the core of what makes VRChat so interesting. Aside from, you know, there are other ways that you can enjoy yourself in VRChat, but I think having those communities and forming those communities are really the core of what makes the experience of being on this platform so good. And I can definitely tell there's a lot of love. You have a lot of love for the Undergarden, and, you know, what you and Chels have managed to build over such a short period of time. Really, it's super interesting, super interesting. And I want to know more about that. I'd like to know more about that. So could you tell me more about the Undergarden and what led you to ultimately what's it called? Form the community. I guess what kind of led up to that, if you can share a little bit about that.
Well, they kind of started out like anything else does. It's pretty rough in the beginning, but now, I don't even want to say rough, because it was just like for fun at the time, and it's what we like to do. We just did a bunch of random fun stuff on stream. But a bunch of different people joined. A bunch of other people started supporting us. And it just being themselves, I guess. And we can't. We can't give all of these success to just us two. It's a bunch of, I would say it's like smaller groups of people. Or like encompassed in it. And they're the ones to thank for supporting everything. But as far as like the origins, it was a bunch of different like mini skits. Explore. And some community events and stuff. Basically just a place to hang out and make friends.
Yeah. Oh.
But I think we both have a goal as to where we want to see things end up. And there's a lot to look forward to, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, the community continues to grow. A lot of people continue to find it, and between you and Chels and everyone else in the community really, wanting to see it blossom, I think it's going to, I think it does have it already is showing great promise. I'm relatively new member, if you even want to call me that. I'm obviously a part of the Undergarden, no matter how small my role may be or presence may be. But it's always good to just observe and see how communities grow, and to see just how passionate a lot of people in the Undergarden are, and I like that the most. That's the thing that interests me the most about what you all have in that community. So yeah, I think it's great what you Chels and everyone else who's been a part of the community, who's been supporting you guys. I think what you all are doing is super interesting, and I mean, you could say that anyone can do it, but as long as you're having fun doing it and bringing people together, I think that's really the most important thing. Having fun and just bringing a positive vibe that people can really vibe with. Like it seems a lot of what Undergarden focuses on is really like music. Like music seems to be like the core of Undergarden. It's pierced that way. Could be wrong, but as you said, there are so many other creators there that make it such a fascinating place. And basically it was just you and Chels just starting off doing small things in VRChat and ultimately growing the community that way, yeah?
I would say that summarizes it pretty well. But other things stem from a bunch of other communities. And basically origins to a lot of different things. VRChat's kind of small, so you see a lot of familiar faces.
Interesting.
If you stick around a lot, I should say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, calling VRChat small is... I guess when you've been here for as long as you have, maybe it seems smaller.
Well, I don't want to say small like that because... it's always growing and stuff. But I would say like a group of people in what they're interested in, like Twitch streamers, you'll see a whole bunch of familiar faces.
So you mean once you're kind of in the group, I wouldn't say the bubble, but once you're kind of surrounded by the type of people you want to be surrounded by, the type of people who you kind of relate to, it becomes kind of smaller. You see more familiar faces because you're in the same atmosphere as a lot of other people. So you end up kind of crossing communities, and it often seems like, you know, it's a very kind of like small knit community in which you just see the same people, you know, by chance. Like you and I have run into each other multiple times, just by chance, mostly at Red's sets, but at other times too. And you know, you just kind of, that's just what kind of happens. And like my community is like, I don't even like, I have a community, but like it's not yet like firmly established, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there very, very soon. But you know, I'm hoping for the best, and that I'm hoping that there will be a lot of crossover between, you know, the people that I know and the people that you and Chels knows. I'm sure there will be one way or another, because you know, I really do enjoy the company of Chels and many others who've been involved in the Undergarden. Like again, there's so many talented people in this in that community, and I'm really impressed with the kind of people that are just there. So many interesting people. But I do want to know more about you with regards to the amount of time that you've spent in VR chat. So I suppose do you play anything else other than VR chat? Because it seems like you'd have to like really dedicate a lot of time. Oh wait, yeah, you do. You're a variety streamer. That's a dumb question. Of course you play other things. So how did you well, what motivated you to spend so much time in VR chat? Like what I mean, obviously it's the people, but is there anything else that really helped you, or I don't want to say, you know what I mean. Basically, how did you end up spending that much time in VR chat? And what do you normally do in VR chat when you're online for that long time? You said about 5K plus hours in total for this account. So what have you been up to?
Well, at first it was a lot of different exploration. And trying to like understand everything. Going to a bunch of different worlds, checking out a bunch of different avatars. And I was super interested in trying to learn how to make avatars and worlds like the first week that I got in my VR headset. I created like my first world.
Oh. How long did it take you to do that?
And I only had like 1 week of like practice in Unity.
Wow.
So I basically learned everything from scratch, and I've been building that ever since. Mainly with avatars, I still struggle with worlds, but creating that world took about like a week, a couple hours a day. like 4 to 6 hours a day. Just because I thought it was fun messing around.
So you were so interested in VRChat that you were immediately interested in becoming a creator, and without any background in Unity, you were able to put that together. And like Unity is nothing to really
That is like the main thing for me.
Yeah, Unity is nothing to kind of like sneeze at. That's a lot. How did you do that?
Like all of this was created with Unity and other stuff. And this platform. That's like one of the main draws for me. Is you could do anything, anytime, put anything in any world.
Yeah.
But sorry, could you ask that again?
Sure.
I was deep in thought.
Yeah, that's no problem. So yeah, like I find it impressive that you're able to just kind of put together your own world just purely out of interest. Obviously, you spent a fair amount of time each day to make that happen, but like, how in the world did you, with no practice in Unity, I'm assuming you just spent a lot of time looking at different resources, different tutorials, and you just kind of soaked up on the information, and then you made, well, what kind of world did you make? Let's go with that. What kind of world did you end up making in that span of time? Like, what was in it, and, you know, what made it yours?
Well, I was definitely an egg. For a long time, I was literally just exploring everything myself and like what it did. Mainly because there isn't a lot of tutorials for worlds. You kinda have to have like some background knowledge, I guess.
And what, did you have any background knowledge?
Not in Unity. Basically just a tiny bit of coding from like school, but that's it. I mainly just like messing around and creating stuff. I do have some friends though who help me do some.
Okay.
3D, C# stuff.
Okay. I see. All right, that's very interesting. So you basically just kind of, and you entrenched yourself in VRChat, and you just absorbed all of the interesting things that Worlds had to offer, and you applied that to world building. Okay, that's very interesting, and that makes sense as to why you spent so much time and accrued so many hours in VRChat, because you were just super curious. And Nepi's ears just perked up. There's more to say.
Well, that's just like a very small portion of it. I don't want to say small. I'd say that's a pretty good sizable portion of it. But
yeah.
Definitely. If you like, get into a group of people who you love hanging out with. You just keep hanging out with him constantly. And one of them was the Undergarden, but like a year before this. I had another group of friends who I always used to hang around with.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of off topic a little bit. But I started playing as mute because I saw a bunch of stuff from Mr. Robert Gator's stream and I thought that was super cool. But then I started talking.
Okay. And what happened?
But as of right now, I am still mute and using this voice just because I think it's fun to do, and there's like a little bubble you can put.
So, all right. So this actually goes perfectly into the main topic of what really interests me about you. Obviously there are a lot of things that are interesting about you that I want to learn more about, but being able to interview a mute is very, very interesting. I've actually wanted to learn more about like what causes people to decide to go that path. So how about we kind of start from the beginning? You said you decided to become a mute for fun, largely. And so you said you did speak in your normal voice when you first started. Was there ever a point where you used your actual voice?
Mute, and then I used my actual voice for a period of time. And some people heard me, I think, from this community. But then I started being mute again whenever we started up.
Okay. So whenever you started doing the Undergarden, that's when you decided to, I guess, permanently become mute? Okay. And so your choice to be mute stems from personal enjoyment.
Well, it has its ups and downs, but it can be fun.
Okay. Interesting. So you find it fun. So are you trying to, you're not trying to hide anything. You're simply just enjoying the I guess the allure of not having to use your real voice.
Well, not saying that I'm trying to hide anything in particular. I don't have any problem like sharing myself with people who I trust and whatnot. and I don't mind talking to the people either.
Okay. So how long have you been... Oh, you have more. Okay, sorry.
Well, I kind of just like the whole aspect of things. Like, I don't know, you can like be whatever you want, you know? If I wanted, I could be like a little green frog that doesn't say anything except for beep, boop, and that can be a character.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I totally understand that. Totally understand that. Okay. So you went into this wanting to kind of distance yourself or just have fun being someone else and just having just a different sort of interactive experience with those around you. And just the interesting, I would say, like, if I had to try to synthesize your reasoning for wanting to do this, there is an interest in observing the reactions of other people with regards to how they respond to and how they interact with your character, who just happens to be mute. And there's an interest, there's like a curiosity to see how people will respond to that. But just for you personally, you want to be a certain character that's different from who you are in real life.
So kind of. I have a lot of ties to what I actually am interested in this character specifically.
Like what?
Well, kind of like the style, like. Kind of. Punk rock. Metal. And my hair kind of looks like this, but this avatar is like an older version. Mixed together with a lot of stuff that I like as well, this is like the older version that kind of grew up.
Okay. So it's both elements of how you look in real life, but an older version. Well, okay, not as much, just only kind of, like bits and pieces. Okay.
Well, very small elements of how I look in real life.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So... Oh, okay.
Obviously, I don't have cat ears. And like, I'm not some super big booba anime waifu Catgirl in real life.
I mean, if you were that in real life, why would you bother coming to VR? You know, you could just live out your best life in reality. Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Totally understand that. Oh gosh. All right, all right. So that is interesting. Wow. Okay. So I've always thought that most mutes choose to be mute because they have something to hide or keep under wraps. And though that sometimes applies, it's very interesting that the first mute I get a chance to talk to and interview just wants to have a good time and do something different. It's just, yeah, it's very, very interesting. So what are I guess given that you have to communicate through speech to text, what what are the benefits and what are the downsides to this experiment, this enjoyment that you're engaging in?
That is a very good question. And there's a lot of both. Obviously, it's hard to be the leader of a community and expect people to follow through with things without constantly stating and messaging stuff. The flow of things is very hard to weave myself into. I have to be very precise and spot on whenever I say stuff. I can't just sit in a group of people who are chatting really fast and continue with the conversation. Being a mute, you have to move around and be extremely fluid. You have to say greetings, do your thing. Be a specific. Well, I have a lot of lines that I say. People know me for stuff. And I kind of stick out in that way, which is a good thing. I just say random stuff like, E. Mwahahaha.
I love that. I love that too much.
Egg. Banorna.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Oh, there's more?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So you have your catchphrases that people know you for, and that's basically how you kind of you can basically overcome the barrier of very fast communication by just kind of inserting a little thing here and there to kind of let yourself be known.
Well, I still talk to people, and I do have conversations with people, but I find it difficult.
Of course it would be.
To maintain and keep up with people.
Yeah. I imagine just the group conversations is pretty difficult, but the one-on-ones are relatively easy because you have one person who just has to be patient. You have one person who has to be patient, ultimately.
You have to get used to getting ignored.
Really? And most people would not be okay with that.
Because it happens a lot.
So I guess tell me how you deal with that. How do you get used to being ignored? And how does that still keep it fun?
It doesn't really happen a lot.
Okay.
A lot. Sometimes people will literally just stop what they're doing and everybody gives all the attention to you at one time.
Okay. So it's either get completely ignored or everyone looks at you. But in both cases, it's kind of awkward. Interesting.
That it happens. It happens, I guess. But it happens a lot more. Then whenever you're mute versus actually talking, I should say. But yes, I can have normal conversations as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously you can. We are right now. So, So that is interesting. So you still find this fun despite all of the hurdles you have to deal with to engage with people and to how with all of the hurdles that you have to go through. I mean, obviously there's still fun to be had. Obviously, if there wasn't, you wouldn't be doing it. But how does that affect your relationships? Is it easy for you to make friends? Do you find it more difficult to connect with people?
I think it's pretty easy to make friends. It really depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm in the mood to do both. And it's harder, depending on my read that I get from the person. But sometimes I'm just I will spear myself into the conversation. And just do whatever. And try and just make friends that way.
I see.
It kind of is up to the individual on how far they want to take it. I can basically do whatever at any time. but I would say most of the times, people, where you think I'm unfriendly or something because it takes me a little bit to like do that.
It's strange that people would find you unfriendly if they don't know like who you are. Like it would strike me as kind of judgmental, like, and unintelligent to judge you as unfriendly just because you are a mute. Or maybe, like, do they usually pick up on that, or is it like they pick up on it, and they just don't want anything to do with you because they think that, I don't know. I don't. It's hard for me to really put myself in their shoes. But how has your experience been with that?
Well, I can be kind of cold sometimes. Sometimes I won't interact with someone or just like make the first move on something like people expect me to do that, I think.
Huh, okay. Interesting. Huh. Well, I mean, I don't, like, you've never really struck me as cold. Like, you've always been very, very friendly, even when we first met, which has been, that was really, really nice. But, huh. That's... Okay, I remember what I was going to say. So, people have... Well, not people, but I've seen you be pretty savage. Like, you can be pretty, like, straightforward. Pretty, like, you don't hold anything back. It's... I've seen you. So I guess, like, it strikes me as strange.
Exactly.
Yeah, it strikes me as strange.
Thank you for saying straightforward.
Yeah, you are.
I try to be 100% down to earth.
Yeah, that came through very, very, very clear for me when I met you. And so it just strikes me as, like, odd that people would either find you unfriendly or you know, or for whatever reason. But like, the straightforwardness seems to be a requirement to be a mute, because like you said, you have to be very precise about these things.
Sometimes I will just like... Is it okay to swear?
It's okay to swear. We're far enough into the podcast that it's okay.
Okay. Sometimes I like to shit on someone really hard. And we like to basically banter and stuff, but people don't know that I'm like super close friends with them, and they just think I'm a really big ass.
Yeah. Yep, that sounds about right. But that applies to literally anyone. It doesn't even have to be a mute. That literally applies to everyone. Like, if you, like, people just get the wrong perspective of people because they don't know how close you are with them. I'm sure people have thought like that. I'm sure people have thought that of me too, like me hanging out with my friends on stream, and like, I mean, me just kind of like backhanding them essentially, or me being backhanded by them. Like, it's just good fun. But I think, yeah, a lot of people can definitely misconstrue that as, you know, being harsh or unfriendly or something like that. But
I definitely go overboard a little bit.
It makes sense why you and Chels got along so well. Both of you are pretty savage, I must say. But in the most interesting and fun ways. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. So, now that we've kind of covered your life as a mute and like the difficulties that you face going through that, I have to ask, I ask this of everybody, what is it like for you if you become interested in somebody, hypothetically speaking? I can be more straightforward if you'd like.
Like in VRChat.
Well, I mean, obviously in VRChat because, you know, you're not going to meet them in real life, supposedly, though that could happen. But, you know, obviously in this case, you'll be meeting people in VRChat. So I guess how do you handle yourself with regards to like romance or not exactly with making friends?
That's a very difficult situation. Most of the times, I'll let them know up front.
Okay. Interesting. How so?
I tell them what I'm into. Like and everything. Or, basically, how? And everything like that. Exactly what Chuck said.
Oh gosh, yep. There it is. We all know it.
But I'm not afraid to usually share what I look like or sound like with somebody.
Okay. Interesting.
Who I'm very interested in.
Okay. That was unexpected. Because, I mean, actually, no. It wasn't really unexpected, given that you're mute for your personal enjoyment. You don't have anything to hide. You are happy with yourself, I would say, in real life as well as in VR. And if you're interested in somebody, it's very, very much like, hey, this is what it is, type of thing. So that's very, very interesting. I like that. Very few people, I think, would be as straightforward and I guess you could call it like brave, I guess, but just like as honest and like, you know, just like I'm gonna put everything on the table type of thing. Which means you must have very thick skin in general, if that's the case.
Well, it's definitely hard sometimes.
How so?
Like you really like someone a lot, but then whenever you share what you look and sound like. It could go either way, but usually, it's just like, not good.
Yeah, I've definitely had that experience, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. It's like you have the thing about VRChat, I think that makes it the most difficult, is that when you're in VRChat and you meet someone and you're interested in them and you talk to them and you've seen them in a certain avatar forever and ever, as long as you've known them, they're just always in the same avatar, they have the same look, the same voice, and you paint a picture of them. You formulate your own vision of what they could be like in real life, but you're not even consciously doing that. You're unconsciously doing that. And then if things go a certain way and you're able to, and an opportunity arises to reveal yourself to that person, it feels as though you're almost always guaranteed to be disappointed. Because of just the idealized versions that we can inhabit in VRChat. And like, you're always like, I think everyone kind of always thinks that, you know, you're gonna get X, you're gonna get X, Y, and Z because that's all you know. And then you get the real shit, and then you're like, well, this is why I stay in VRChat, because reality fucking sucks. So it's like it's definitely rough. It's definitely just it's an unfortunate turn of events, but sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes people will understand and actually like be like, oh yeah, hey, that's perfectly fine by me, type of thing. But it sounds like you've had your own struggles with that, as have I. I certainly have had my own share. But I guess how have you, like, is that something that you deal with? Is it something that you worry about? Or are you just simply just kind of living your life, doing what you do, and if things happen, if they happen or don't happen, doesn't matter?
So, I've learned a lot about that. And I've learned to not really care about that aspect of the VRChat.
Okay.
Like, I still enjoy it. And I think it's great, and anybody can be who they want to be, but I think things are most successful when you have people who are extremely comfortable with themselves.
Okay.
And even if, like, you really, really like someone, I don't really think it matters on how they look. Personally. Obviously, there's preferences and like what people are into. But I am kind of weaving two topics into each other.
That's okay.
I think it is very important. Just to have an open space where people can be themselves regardless. And like. That's why I think it's important and why things are successful with Mr. Robert Gator's stream, kind of, because I don't want to say this, but like, everybody's kind of a degenerate in this lobby is.
Yeah. Everyone can just be who they are. And it's great. It's great fun. It's great entertainment. And
it's kind of fun that, like, it's funny.
Yeah. Because, like, at the end of the day, you know, I think the most entertaining part is when you get people together who are just unafraid to just be who they are. I think that's the most entertaining part about streaming VRChat in general. So I definitely agree with you.
I say degenerate exactly, but I think that stems from someone being themselves and not holding anything back.
Yeah, I mean, you can be a degenerate and just have like a very, like, you remove your filter and you're just kind of openly being who you are. And, you know, in VRChat, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to express that. And you could even argue that having, like, if more people, I don't know, like, do you think it's common for people in VRChat to be unabashedly themselves? Do you think that's a common thing? Because you've been in a part of this ecosystem far more than I have been. So do you think that's a commonality, or do you think it's something that's only for very specific people?
So, that can go both ways. It's hard to find. But you know when you find it. I have literally had people fake themselves knowing how to playing piano and having like their vocal cords taken out, and like having a raspy voice forever. And I was friends with this one person, and then they finally unmuted. And I'm like, I don't want to say unmuted, but had. Basically, people were sympathetic on the fact that they had that issue when they didn't, because I don't think that is an issue that you should, like, make fun of.
Right. Of course not. Yeah, anyone who does that should get kicked in the dick. Or in the cooch. Whichever they have.
That's why I say I obviously can speak and I'm comfortable with my voice.
I like that. There's definitely, like, I think it's definitely important and reasonable to be very understanding of people who are mutes, and everyone has their reason for it. And people who are open and willing to just be themselves, like if they're willing to be themselves and kind of show that part of themselves, they're doing that because they feel comfortable enough to do that. And it's super, super shitty of anyone to make fun of that or make light of that. I think it's very, very, like, it's important for people to be very, very understanding. But I think VRChat gives people an opportunity to be themselves while under the guise of a different avatar. Like they're donning a different skin, essentially, but they're still able to kind of be who they are and project their personality through whatever skin they're wearing, whatever avatar they're wearing. And I think VRChat it should allow for more authentic interactions, but in my estimation, I feel like VRChat has more stifling interactions in which people are too afraid to be who they are, and they want to hide behind their avatar because they are too ashamed of who they actually are, and they don't want to show that to others because they feel that others will not accept them for who they are. You, on the other hand, you are willingly a mute, and you're very much capable of sharing who you are in real life and your personality and minus your filter and everything like that. It's good. Like I would like that to be the norm, but I'm not too sure if that is the norm. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, A. I don't think that is necessarily the norm. But in terms of like entertainment and like long-lasting growth and kind of like mainstream success with Twitch in particular, I think. A mixture of both is very well. Will like the base source of it. Has to be very authentic. So the streamer.
Is there more? No? Okay. All right. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So, okay. So I do want to ask you about other mutes. I want to know do you have any other mute friends? Like, do you, okay, let me approach this another way. Do you consider, is there a subculture of mutes that existed in VRChat? Okay, so yes. So are you familiar?
Most definitely there is a subculture of mutes.
Okay, great. So my thought about that is, initial thought about that is correct. That's actually good to know. So do you interact with that subculture at all? Is that like a community, a culture that you kind of interact with at all? Or is it just kind of something that you're aware of?
Kind of. I am very aware of it, but a lot of mutes are extremely interactive and move around and dance and do a whole bunch of different expressions that aren't their voice.
As I've noticed from Mr. Robert Gator's stream.
It's kind of physically demanding in a way. And it can be really fun to do sometimes, but I tend to stray away from that a little bit, even though I think it can be fun just to do whatever.
Okay.
But then there is other mutes who do like very close-up dancing, who like focus on the assets, you know, like
yeah.
big.
Yep. Oh, I know. So where do you fall?
And then there's others who are just, like, super cozy. But I would put myself in, like, the center.
So if there was like a gauge, like a gauge, we'll say a gauge, of like you have like super cozy, well, okay, well, we could say like very active, like very they dance around and they're cute and they do a whole lot of different stuff with their voice and everything, and then you have like the dancers that are very like like look at me and look what I have, and then you have like the middle, which would be like I guess cozy. How would you describe it? Maybe cozy would be like one side, and then like the dancing and the dancing on the assets and all that would be on one side, the other side. But I'll let you do it.
Well, I'm on a scale of like cozy to super juicer active mute.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Some youths can be like really entertaining. And like still show off a lot of themselves.
Yes.
There's basically like little subtypes throughout the scale.
Right. Scale was the word I was looking for, but yeah.
But I would say like big juicer, super active, very quirky, very dancy, super hot. Like a 10 out of 10 in every category is like top tier.
Right. I feel like that's what most people enjoy or what they think of when they think of mutes.
I would say cozy though is like on the very opposite end.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. And you'd say that you're somewhere in the middle. Or close to the middle.
It kind of depends. Like I kind of want to be a lot more active. I want to have like really put myself out there in a way. And like just go. I've been kind of waiting to do it.
Interesting. Okay. So...
Until the right time. Because timing.
What timing are you waiting for? Oh, okay.
So for example... If you know who Crazy Mango is.
The name sounds familiar, but I'm not aware.
They used to be like super wholesome, extremely quirky, and still dance and stuff. And Rob stream. But now they are like, oh, mega mommy mode. Like super seductive dancing on stream all the time.
Okay. So, yeah, there's definitely a scale of mutes. There's a definitely like kind of a, you know, how mutes present themselves and how they find, you know, their audience essentially. And you're saying that you're waiting for the right time to kind of be more active, and you're looking to do that. So, I suppose as a streamer yourself, what are you like? What are you kind of aiming for in that regard? Because obviously, like I've seen both types of mutes, but I largely see the active dancer, mommy milkers, seductive. I see that all the time. So like, I'm curious to know like what exactly are you kind of going to be aiming for and what you're looking to do, and I guess where are you now as well?
Well, I'd say I'm definitely reserved right now. But where I want to be is kind of like gain the skills to be able to perform a little bit. And perform in multiple ways, like with RP as well. Like I want to like really put myself out there and fully commit.
Yeah.
And this is kind of in regards to how I see things on Twitch. And what I want to do and what I find fun. But I think people who have like nothing holding them back and they just keep going, and are like Omega Juice mode.
And that's where you wanna ultimately be. You want to be Omega Juice mode, or just kind of closer towards that? I mean, I can't really imagine you kind of going that far over, but, you know, I could be wrong. But you just want to kind of be a little bit more active, a little bit more kind of, you want to have like, you want to be more...
There's like a fine line.
Okay. So like an all-rounder, ultimately. Like you want to be cozy and chill, but also be able to do the dances and, you know, kind of, you know, put yourself out there role-playing and, you know, be a guest on Roflgator stream. You and me both. You and me both. I want to be on a stream too. But, you know, because I'm not a mute, maybe that wouldn't work out too well for me. But, you know, then again, you know, he has a murder crumpet. So maybe I could still find a place. Who knows? Okay. So, now that we've kind of covered the mute area. Like, I think we've kind of covered everything there. I do want to go more into you as a streamer. You as a streamer. So, what got you into streaming?
Well, before I streamed VRChat and stuff, I always did many streams periodically, just some really dumb stuff.
Like what?
There was a video on my stream that I caught whenever I started back up again. It was literally me cooking hot dogs just because I thought it was funny outside on
Wait, cooking hot dogs in real life? So you were just chatting, streamer?
Well, I played games and stuff too. I play so many different games.
Okay. So, normally I do a little bit more research on people, but I only did a bit of research about your most recent gap.
I definitely made sure to cover all that up.
Of course. You don't want people going back in time and finding those old streams that you used to do. So I guess how long did it take you? I guess how long have you been streaming for? I should already know this, honestly. I should have just done my research. But how long have you been streaming for? And I guess what ultimately brought you to doing VRChat?
Well, I have been streaming for close to a year now, but obviously I had the huge break. And that's whenever I was just chilling in the community.
Right. So you actually did start streaming. So you did a couple of just IRL just chatting type streams, and then was it immediately after that you got into streaming VRChat, or?
That was way before, 2017, all the way up until 2021.
Okay.
It may have been on a different account too, I can't remember. Or same account, different name.
Okay. So you technically start streaming somewhere in the vein of 6 years ago, but you weren't really doing a whole lot back then. So at what year did you get into?
It was very inconsistent too.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. So at what point did you start streaming VRChat, and why did you choose VRChat as I guess your main game? Obviously you play other games, you're a variety streamer. So when did you at what point did you start to lean into VRChat?
Well, it was a New Year's stream. Last year is when all of this kind of started kicking off.
That's also when Chels started, interestingly enough. Did you two already know each other?
If you know, Kitty, LTD, yeah, I joined their New Year's Eve party.
I do know the name, yes.
I was friends with Kitty and Cells for a very long time, since like I started playing. I think Shells was like my 20th friend on this game or something like that.
Oh wow, okay, wow. So that was like way back then.
But I was very new and like, they don't really remember me. I was kind of a noob and didn't have VR, and they were in the Void Club just doing their thing.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but it was, so I guess with all of that in mind, it was around last year, obviously after, you know, connecting with Chels, that you started streaming again, after like not doing so. Okay. And then you did that for approximately 5 months, 5.5 months, and then there was the break. So you actually recently started streaming again last Saturday, actually.
Yeah, pretty close to that.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't mind sharing, I guess, can you kind of tell us about that break? I don't think it was something that you wanted to do. It doesn't seem like it was something you wanted to do. But can you tell us about, like, why that happened, especially after, like, I guess, getting back into streaming and wanting to, like, help the Undergarden and everything?
Yes, it was very hard. And every single day I thought about wanting to get back into streaming. And how I would do that. And the reason that happened is because college I needed to do an internship. And I found one that was available. Close to where I live.
Okay.
And where I live is in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of Amish people and cows.
Oh, yep. That sounds difficult. So you had to really dedicate a lot of time to get to and from that internship.
After.
Yeah.
After I did my internship, I was basically kind of in like a drought period of my life. It was very hard. And it was kind of hard to find a job, and I wasn't really looking.
Was it difficult to find a job because of your location or just in general?
But I eventually graduated, and I have to thank. but it wasn't really hard to find the job. I just had no motivation to really do anything.
Okay, I see. I can definitely understand that. So you said after you graduated.
And it didn't help. That my college, like the program that I was in, was really bad, and that program I was in is shut down now.
Well, yeah. You kind of took what you can get, unfortunately. Yeah.
And I had to jump through so many hoops to graduate.
Can you share a little bit more about like why you had to jump through so many hoops? Was it location? Was it just how bad the school was?
And that didn't really go well. The program in that school wasn't really good for my field, but it's extremely well in another field. And I kind of followed in my brother's footsteps because I didn't really know much about anything.
Gotcha. So you did what someone else, you did what your brother did as a kind of a path forward, basically.
I did go to school for like physical therapy my first year, and my brother's a physician's assistant. And I kind of just, like, followed him. I don't know why. It was a really bad mistake.
And I can see why.
I regret it.
Yeah, I mean, after going through something like that, I can see why you would be like unmotivated to do everything, because you went through all that effort, you did all of that work, you had to jump through all those hoops, you got the internship, you went through all of that, and then you're just like, well, this isn't really what I want to do anyway, kind of thing. And yeah, I can definitely see how that could like bring you down and make you not want to do much of anything. That drought period that you were talking about was a kind of a culmination of all of those kind of experiences kind of coming to a head, and then just kind of, what am I going to do with myself at this point? I would say, yeah. So I guess how did you find your way?
But the turning point? I literally have to thank this person for everything. Like they're such, like a fantastic human being. And he's my boss now for the job that he offered me. In pretty much the field that I kind of wanted to get into myself, but I have been learning an extreme amount of stuff and things have been going.
Great. That's wonderful. So, okay.
He basically took one of the most depressing periods of my life. It was just like a fucking light in the dark.
Yeah. It really is amazing just how meeting the right person to kind of just raise you up and allow you to be all that you like are capable of there's plenty of people like that, but it's very rare to actually encounter someone like that. That is super, super fortunate. I'm very, very, I'm very, very happy that you were able to come across that person and find a way to, pick up the pieces and find a way forward and do what it is that you want to do. And what is it actually that you're aiming to do now, that you're involved with?
Well, I work for a company that does like a bunch of, if not everything, tech related. And we do like web development, application development.
Mm-hmm.
Our biggest client is a hospital, and we handle all of their records and patient information and all of their processes and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that definitely sounds very, very fulfilling. It's not only something that you wanted to do, but you're also kind of helping to, you're helping people in the process. I would say, like, if it's for a hospital, like that's a pretty big client. That's very, very interesting. Very, very cool. I'm happy for you, Nepi. Obviously, I had no idea, but this is a chance for me to get to know you, and obviously everyone else to get to know you. But yeah, that's great. So after getting out of that situation and finding your way forward, is that how you're able to come back to streaming?
Yes, like literally everything's coming together, every single string. New job, new apartment, new computer, new car, and just like new internet, everything is just like.
Everything is looking up. And I absolutely understand that to such a degree. I don't want to make this about me, because this is your moment, and I think that's really, really wonderful. But I 100% can understand what it's like to be at what feels like the bottom of the barrel, to not know where you're gonna go next, and then for just one person to come along and give you a chance to do something that actually means something, that's actually fulfilling. And it ultimately changed my life too. It changed the trajectory of my life, and though I didn't end up staying there, at that point in my life, it was very, very, it was life-changing in a lot of ways. So I 100% understand that feeling of just finally being able to find your own way and lift yourself up. And, you're like, I have people to thank, but I'm working hard. I'm putting my best foot forward, and I'm making things happen. And that feels really, really good. Very, very fulfilling. Very, very, it's great to have purpose. It's great to do something that's meaningful, which I can definitely relate to. So I guess how long was it after that change for you that you came back to streaming? Like how quickly did you kind of like say, all right, things are looking good right now, let me come back to streaming? And like, what was your, I guess, your plan to come back, and how have you kind of executed on that since you've had a couple of streams since last Saturday?
Well, things are far from where I want them to be. And there is always stuff to improve on, and I kind of had like the bare minimum in a way as to what I would like.
Mm-hmm.
But it did take me 2 or 3 months from when I got my new place to kind of get all of the motivation and settle in and new computer and everything set up.
Oh. I was waiting for a little bit more, but okay, that's fine. Yes. Okay. Thankfully that hasn't happened too many times. But gotcha. All right. So, that's great. I'm very, very happy to hear that. All right. So, what have you been streaming? For other people to know, what have you been up to? Like you say, you're a variety streamer. What kinds of games do you find yourself being drawn to? Because you play a lot of different games. So, I guess what can people expect from you?
I did save like a whole bunch of new releases. And I think about this daily as well. But yes, one fun game was Hellsinger that Shells mentioned. I do have like God of War. I wanted to do like a community Terraria or Minecraft server.
Oh, that'd be really, really cool.
Also, I do basically any game to exist like any new game. And we do like community game nights and movie nights. But I want to get to a point where things are like extremely established and we can start running our own stuff. In VRChat, I mean like run our own events and have everything set up to where people outside of the community want to be there.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. I think that's definitely the goal. Like when you're a content creator or streamer, you want to create an experience for people to engage with, and you want people to be happy to be there. It's definitely something that I think every one of us aspire towards, and I'm sure with so many people in your corner, I'm 100% certain that you will be able to accomplish that, and I hope to be able to be there at one of those events. I would really love to be a part of that in some shape or form. That'd be really, really cool. But I have no doubt that that you all will make that happen. 100%. And yeah, absolutely. So, oh.
And I really want to like, push people to want to do that. I want people to push themselves to make content that they aren't really like used to doing. I want people to set the bar high. Because not only does it improve yourself, it makes it a great experience for the viewer, and that's why I think Rob's stream is so successful, and like, a lot of people have hate on it, and there's like a lot of hate.
That's for sure. But when you're doing something right, people gonna hate. That means you're doing something right.
But you have to have thick skin.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. No, he's not letting anyone get him down. He's doing his thing. He's having a great time, and people love it. People love it. It's I sit in on his streams like every so often, not a whole lot, but every so often. And yeah, he's just creating content. He has so many people that are like supporting him, and he can just do things. And that's really fucking awesome. Like, I think we can only all hope to accomplish that, but I think Undergarden is well on its way. I think you all are well on your way.
Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to say. I kind of want to create our own thing like that.
Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be amazing. I'd love to see that. And I'd love to be a part of that, you know. As a part of my own group of people, the succubus subculture, it's definitely I think I could add a little bit of flavor with all that. Some of the people from Undergarden know what I'm about, and I think it would be really, really fun to see what you guys can do and to be a part of that. I'd love that. Yeah. So
fair share. For sure.
Yes. For sure. So I got a couple more questions for you. These are gonna be like pretty like brisk ones. I think those will be pretty easy. But just to get a quick like a background of who you are. They're not gonna be that hard. I've already hit you with the hard questions, so you're out of the woods. So Nepi, how did you come up with your name? Where did your name come from? Nepi.
So, adventure time. Nepture the robot's never-ending pie-throwing robot, voiced by Andy Milanakis.
Okay, wow. That's not what I was expecting. Cool.
And then? That was my name on some things before this. And I'm like, how can I make this my own? And I kind of just, like, played with it for a little.
And then it just kind of grew on you? Gotcha. All right. Nice. Very, very nice. So basically Adventure Time the character from Adventure Time inspired your name. Gotcha. Interesting. All right.
I love Adventure Time so much.
Oh, okay. Well, I know there's a lot of people that do. A lot of people enjoy it. I can't say that I've watched a whole lot of it, but I know there's a ton of people who find it super entertaining. So I think that's great. Honestly, I think that's like people get inspiration and find fun things to enjoy all the time. So I think that's awesome.
Oh, and the tattoo on my back says Adventure 2, and that was kind of like a little hint to that.
Oh, okay. Nice. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I like that. But like no one's going to see that unless, they're they're super, you guys are super comfortable together. But that would be a nice surprise for sure. So how did you come up with your avatar? Where did the design kind of come together from? How did that work out for you?
That is like a mini monster in its own. I had somebody make like a little edit for me on my other avatar. I'm not quite sure how safe it would be, but I can show you after.
Okay. Yeah, after the stream. Sounds good.
And it's like a younger version this in a sense, and I took a bunch of aspects from that. My first avatar that I created, and then this one.
Okay. So you took
and then I put them into this one, I should say.
Okay. Nice. So ultimately this is your personal design? Just putting together all different assets together, and ultimately you made what is now known as would you say that this is like your de facto version of yourself since you made this one? Ultimately it's kind of yours?
Yes, I did make it, but not from like completely scratched. There's just a bunch of assets that you can piece together, and it took me forever to find stuff that I like.
Yeah, I've heard a fair bit that avatar design is a lot of like kind of like snapping pieces together, like you're like making your own doll of yourself. You're just taking pieces that you collect and you're like snapping them on, essentially. I've wanted to try that, but I haven't had the time. I hope to in the future, but I've been working on a lot of other different things. But would you say that this is you? This is Nepi, ultimately. Would you ever want to like change into something different, or is this ultimately like how you would identify visually?
So, I have not been able to do a bunch of updates, but I probably wouldn't change a whole lot about this except for just like quality of assets and maybe a couple of different outfits.
Cool. That's definitely a lovely looking avatar, and
But this style, I think,
fits you.
would stay pretty true.
Cool. Love to hear it. So, next question. Do you have phantom sense?
Not to like, I usually don't, but like there is occasions if like there's only one other person. And it has to be like intentional. I can't just like walk through somebody and feel it.
Okay. So it's a switch.
Like, yes, you kind of have to like trick yourself into thinking it and be fully immersed.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I don't really have phantom sense technically either, but once in a while I'll catch a whiff of perfume, or like my sense of smell will trick me. That it'll just happen. I can't turn it on or turn it off. It will just happen. So it would be nice to have a trigger.
It happens very little. Like, I just have to be chilling with one other person being super chill. Just being extremely comfortable around them. But it doesn't happen usually because like, there's always a lot of stuff going on and parties.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. So, do you drink? Okay. So do I. Do you get high?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yes, to both.
Cool. Nice. I only recently started dabbling in gummies myself, for that. But yeah, I've been drinking for a long time. So yeah, right there with you. All right.
I definitely go overboard a little bit.
I think we all have a couple of times. I've definitely have done it myself. Yep. So no worries. No shame, no shade. So, oh gosh. So there is another question I've got. I did kind of skirt around this when we were talking about like relationships and like romance earlier, but is Nepi single? Okay, cool. So,
yes.
Do with that with what you will. I am too, by the way. So it's totally, we're in the same boat. So, I think, all right, 5 years from now. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? And if 5 years is too far, 2.
Well, things are definitely going to grow a lot, I think, for VR in a whole. And since we are already kind of established and are pretty well known throughout the VRChat community, I think having that early presence is extremely important and a lot of growth. But in 5 years, or like I would say 2 years, is more realistic. Is to have an established lobby, established world. Have a bunch of different series goings. And have done a bunch of different playthroughs.
Throughs. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's okay. It's totally alright. Limitations, I know. You said VC.
Playthroughs and stream just grows in general and as people.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Boom. Nailed it. Very, very nice. That would be awesome. I would 100% love to see that. I'm hopeful, and I'm definitely confident that you and Chels and the rest of the Undergarden will achieve that one way or another. And I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. So as I said before, I would hope to be a part of that in some shape or form. Hopefully I can, either be a voice for other people in the Undergarden if they would like to be on the podcast, or me just being a part of whatever events you guys are throwing. I hope to be able to jump in on that and help support what you all got going on.
That would be awesome. And I mean, it's not just us that does this. Mm-hmm. We have to make this known, and we have to have other people that want to do this, like yourself. So I think you are an extremely important piece to it.
Thank you. Yeah. And there are going to be, there's a ton of other important people as well that they will make it work.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, I'm 100% confident, and I'm hopeful that the people will come, the opportunity will come, and hopefully I can be a part of that and be a piece in that puzzle, as you so confidently stated that I am, and I'm hopeful of that. But I have all the faith in you and everyone else involved in the Undergarden. I think it's a great endeavor to pursue. And is there anyone who you would want to see on the podcast, Nepi? If you could choose anyone, who would you want to see on the Sweet Talking podcast?
Abraham or Crow? Abraham or Crow the Rogue?
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, hopefully we can make that happen. I've seen Crow. I've seen Crow around. Hopefully we can make that happen. That'd be pretty sick. I don't know them very well, but as is well shown, I'm here to learn and to understand and to learn more about people. So I would be down.
Outtro is extremely knowledgeable about VRChat. He is so big brain about Twitch.
Oh. That could be very, very interesting for sure. And do you know any other mutes who may be interested in you know, coming on as well?
Bixby could be cool. Ava could also be cool.
Okay, okay.
Jumble as well.
Well, hopefully I can get an introduction, because I don't know, I'm not familiar with any of them, and they're probably not familiar with me at all. So, as tiny of a streamer as I am, you know, it would really be helpful to get an introduction at some point. That would be really, really cool, because my goal ultimately is to have more interviews with more mutes to see if there are any kind of correlating aspects of like any similarities that like what makes some mutes similar or what makes them different. Like if there are any kind of like Venn diagram like similarities that kind of like what kind of makes a mute, what leads someone to becoming a mute, and if there are any kind of if it's just completely different based on the person, or if there are any kind of similarities that kind of intertwine. That's really what I'm interested in kind of looking into. So it'd be really great to interview more mutes, more people who live that lifestyle. And I certainly hope that as my first mute on my podcast, hopefully I was able to be respectful and understanding and patient, and not, hopefully it was very comfortable for you.
Yes, it was awesome. I thought it was super fun and it had a great time. And I think it was a great opportunity. Kind of. To voice some things that I don't usually say. So thank you for that.
Yeah. I'm glad that I could give you an opportunity to, you know, use your voice to share things that, you know, you haven't had a chance to talk about or no one's ever asked you. And hopefully I'm very relieved that you had a good time. Very, very pleased to hear that. Definitely experience for me. I've very much enjoyed your company. You're a very, very warm person, but I can also feel your intensity, like your desire to want to just, you know. But I like that. I like that. I think it's very, very. I think it's a very attractive trait, a very attractive aspect of what makes you you. So, I've definitely enjoyed learning more about you, Nepi, and I really do hope, despite me being crazy busy and having everything going on, that, you know, we can be friends and continue to, you know, help each other out in the best ways that we can, little by little. I'd really like to do that. But yeah, I really do appreciate having you coming on the podcast and taking the time to talk to me.
That sounds awesome, and thank you again.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. And so where can people find you? Where can people find you on the interwebs so they can support you as well?
People can find me being an egg in the Undergarden and on twitch.tv. NepiVR, but I am trying to get the original name.
Yeah, that's always a struggle. I hope you do. I have to stick with 2 I's in my name, in my Twitch name as well, so I feel that. So Twitch and the Discord. You'll have to give me a link, an invite for that I can use publicly. That will be okay for the podcast for people to use. So that'd be pretty cool.
Twitter too, for sure. But probably more places in the future.
Okay, cool. So NepiVR on Twitter, yes. Okay, cool. All right, so that's where you can find Nepi. And, she's going to be doing her thing on Twitch. She has recently started streaming again on Twitch, so please do go support her streams. She's doing really cool stuff. Who knows when that timing will come when she lets loose and lets people know that she is a force to be reckoned with. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But you can find me if you'd like to look me up on you can find me on Twitter at Nepherti with 2 I's. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Nepherti with 2 I's. And also on Twitter. I said Twitter already. You can find me on YouTube at Nepherti. There's only 1 I there. But obviously, if you're watching this, you've already found me on YouTube, so congratulations. You're already a third of the way there. Thank you for watching and for supporting tonight's podcast. It's been a great time getting to know Nepi. And hopefully you all enjoyed tonight's podcast also. I look forward to more conversations, and hopefully you will too. So until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next Sweet Talking podcast. So please do tune in. And of course, like, favorite, subscribe. You know the deal. If you enjoyed tonight's podcast, please leave a comment. Let Nepi know how adorable she is. I get to boop. Do I get to boop? Boop. All right. Yeah, that is the boop. So let Nepi know how adorable she is. Go to her streams, say hi, find her on Twitter, say hello, and yeah, I think that's all that we have for tonight. I think it'll be great to see what comes into the future with Nepi and the Undergarden, and maybe with me too. So until next time, I'll see you all again. But do take care. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.